cruelest game on earth. But so far, Lady Luck has smiled on these 6 players, and at the end of the night, one of them will walk away with the lion's share of $1.5 million.
Welcome to the inaugural event of the World Poker Tour.
The World Poker Tour is a series of international poker tournaments featuring some of the biggest games and the largest payouts on the planet. Tonight, we're in Las Vegas, where the incomparable Bellagio Hotel is hosting the first tournament of this year's World Poker Tour. You'll see the top poker players battling it out using strategy, psychology, bravery, and maybe a little luck for nearly $1.5 million in prize money. Each of the 146 players put up 10 grand, knowing that only 6 would survive to compete at the WPT final table and earn a place in poker history. Today's winner will also get an entry into the WPT Championship to face off against the other 11 title holders for millions in prize money. And now, down to the WPT Arena, where poker champion Mike Sexton and Hollywood home game sensation Vince Van Patten are standing by.
Welcome to the debut of the World Poker Tour. We are in Las Vegas for the 5-Diamond World Poker Classic at Bellagio. Vince, this is so exciting. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. You know, sure, I'd rather be at that final table playing for millions of dollars. But listen, I'm in Las Vegas and I'm even, so I'm doing just fine.
Well, we have a sensational group of 6 finalists for you here today. What a great way to start the season on the World Poker Tour. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. 2 cards down and 5 cards up for everyone to play, and you can lose it all in a single hand.
Okay, we're starting out now with a $1,000 ante, $3,000 and $6,000 blind. Shuffle up and deal.
So let's give a rundown of where these guys stand at the start of our final table today.
Our chip leader is Gus Hansen. He's aggressive as they come on the poker table, and he's got over $1 million in chips to start with today, nearly twice as many as the second place contender.
Right, but the guy sitting in their second chip position is one of the hottest players on the tournament circuit today, Johnny Uwanda, and he's got $574,000. That is plenty of chips for a player of his caliber. Then there is Kasim Deeb with $562,000 in chips.
Our next player is one of the poker greats, the 1998 world champion of poker, Scotty Wynn. The $409,000 in chips he's starting with today will give everyone else plenty to worry about.
John Hennigan is a former professional pool player from Philadelphia. He has $205,000 in chips. And Chris Bigler is a retired businessman from Switzerland. He is our short stack with $136,000 in chips.
This is really exciting, Vince, to get to see these players' cards, because the viewers are going to get a nice insight on what these players are actually thinking.
Let's take a look. Who's going to be the first winner of the final table on the World Poker Tour? Look at Johnny Uwanda, only has a 4-6 offsuit, a junk hand, terrible hand. He's got to fold it.
He does fold. John Hennigan next to speak, he folds.
Now look at this. Scotty Wynn has a queen 9 of hearts. He sees the other guys folded. What's he going to do?
Now look at this. The guy on the button and both blinds all have a better hand than Scotty.
Scotty opens the pot for $22,000.
Scotty Wynn, our world champion, is the first one to bet at the pot. The button folds, Deeb folds, and Bigler folds.
Everyone folds. Scotty wins the first pot.
Okay, well, Scotty Wynn picks up that first pot. When you pick up blinds and antes, Vince, that's $15,000 more that goes in your stack. It adds up.
Not too bad.
Well, we're underway here. Scotty breaks out with a big grin. Vince, he captures the first pot. That's always a good feeling.
Yeah, this player is so feared by all the other players. Scotty Wynn, great champion in poker, takes that first pot.
I play to win, not lose, you know. I'm not going to put up no $10,000 just thinking about it. Scotty Wynn going to win it tomorrow, baby.
No doubt about it. Scotty is the most experienced. He's probably won more poker tournaments than all the other players at the final table ×4. For those of you that are new to the game, and for my pal Vince here, we've got a quick tutorial on how to play Texas Hold'em.
See, I'm not new. I just don't win.
The game is No Limit Hold'em, the Cadillac of poker. It's a game that takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. To start, each player is dealt 2 cards face down. Then, 5 community cards, cards everyone can play, are placed face up on the table. Each player combines their 2 hidden down cards with the community cards to make their best 5-card poker hand.
And betting is really what this game is all about. Let me explain. You get your first 2 cards, you make a bet. Then, the dealer puts the first 3 community cards on the table. In poker, we call this the flop. They bet again. Then the dealer puts the fourth community card on the table. This is called the turn card. Once again, big round of betting. Then the last card. We call this the river. It's turned up on the table. They make a big last round of betting. Turn your cards over. You see who wins.
They call it no limit hold'em because there's no limit on how much a player can bet. At any moment, he can declare that he is all in and push all of his chips into the pot.
Right, and that makes chip position, or how many chips you have, very, very important in this game.
Scotty gets off to a great start. It's always nice to get that first pot under your belt in a major championship. Okay, the button moves forward now. Chris Bigler is on the button.
Now, the button, you're going to be hearing a lot about the button in this tournament, is that little white hockey puck that moves around the table each hand. It tells the dealer where to start dealing.
And the two players to the left of the dealer button have force bets called blinds. The blinds make sure there is action and money in the pot on every hand.
Now, you can see from that first hand, these guys are playing a little tight, a little conservative, just feeling each other out. Now, Scotty's going to take a peek at his hand, throws it away.
And here comes Gus Hansen. He's got a queen-8 offsuit, and he raises the pot. 18,000 to go. He is the most aggressive player at the table, has been all week. Deeb folds. And Bigler folds. Hennigan folds.
Everyone folds. Gus wins spot.
Gus, the youngest player at the table, picks up the pot. He senses everybody's going to play tight early. He's going to go ahead and try to pick up some blinds and antes.
It really shows you how much psychology is involved in this game.
And I'll tell you what else this shows. It shows that Kasim Deeb has drawn a bad seat in this tournament. He's sitting right behind Gus. Gus is going to beat him in the pot all the time. That means if Deeb wants to play pots, he's going to have to come back over the top of Gus. So, quite frankly, I think Freddie's drawn a bad seat sitting behind Gus because Gus is always in there grabbing the pots first, and Freddie likes to be in there grabbing pots himself.
You can't win every hand with your gambling. You know, you're going to lose some hands. If you can't take it, if you break down, I mean, you're going to just go.
Okay, the button rotates around now. The first to speak this time will be Gus Hansen. Let's see if he's so aggressive in first position, Gus.
Gus has a jack-3 of club in this particular hand.
He's not in good position, and you see he folds this hand.
Just chucked it.
Deeb folds his hand.
Chris Bigler, 5-9 offsuit.
Bigler folds his hand. Now here's John Uwanda on the button with a king-jack offsuit.
Now, he's in a very good position. He has that, what we call that button in front of him. It's a perfect time to raise because the guys on your right already folded.
And he does so, and John Hennigan folds his hand. Now look at Scotty Wynn. Now Scotty's picked up the queen-8 of diamonds.
Not much of a hand here. What's he doing, Mike?
John Uwanda's a pretty solid player, so I'd be sort of surprised Scotty's thinking about playing this hand, but it sure looks like he is.
Sometimes you don't want to be pushed around.
Scotty calls.
He does call, and Bench, you're right. Scotty's making a statement here. You just can't raise and take it. On the button with me.
Flop comes 5, 9, 10. Two clubs.
Now this means both players have flopped a gut shot straight draw. Scotty has a queen-8 where a jack would make him a straight, and Uwanda has a king-jack where a queen would make him a straight. So Uwanda has the best hand here.
Check.
Scotty checks.
They both check. It goes check, check on the flop.
Turn cards at another 10. Two 10s on board.
Let's see if anybody bets at this pot now. They both checked. John, you want to check behind him one more time.
River cards a 7.
Now, in my opinion, for Scotty to win this pot, he must bet here. If he doesn't bet here, he's just giving the pot up.
Check. He checks.
He doesn't. He checks.
Check. He checks.
Queen high.
Uwanda wins the pot with king high. I think Scotty made a mistake. I think he should have bet the river card there if he wanted to win that pot at all. Right now, I don't think he's too pleased with himself. Uwanda's feeling very good about that right now. He picks up $57,000 in that pot because Scotty checked to him. I can tell you right now, Scotty Wynn is not happy with himself. He knows he should have bet that hand at the river. He knows he made a mistake. Here we go to the next hand. The action is on Kasim Deeb. He looks at a 10 deuce.
He's seen throwing away a junk hand, bad position.
Chris Bigler with a 6-9 offsuit folds his hand, and John Uwanda folds a 3 and an 8. And Hennigan folds. Now we're down to the battle of the blinds, and Scotty picks up an ace high here.
Now, both these players had to put money in before the hand started. That's what we call the blinds.
Scotty just limped in the small blind.
18,000.
And now Gus Hansen with king high, he does raise. He raises it at 18,000.
Scotty calls.
It's entering. Most players would raise in a small blind with an ace, and Scotty just limped in and then called a raise. And here comes the flop.
Flop comes 10 tray with 2 spades. Check. Scotty checks.
Scotty checks in the small blind. And here comes Gus. He's betting 24,000, as he should. He just has a king high, but because he raised early, this is a hand you should bet after the flop if you raise pre-flop.
Scotty's calling. That's an interesting call.
Scotty, I actually believe Scotty thinks his ace high is the best hand. This is a great call by Scotty on the flop.
Another 10. 2 10s, 2 trays on board.
And now the board pairs 10s, so it's 10s and 3s. Now this didn't actually hurt Scotty's hand because he has an ace high. Had Gus had a 10 or a 3 or a pair already, Scotty would have been beat. He checked. And Scotty called a re-raise. He called a bet on the flop. Your king high is starting to shrink in your mind here, Vince.
Check, check.
And he checks.
8 of spades, 3 spades now.
Now an 8 comes off and it's another spade.
Check.
Scotty checks. It's up to Hansen. I believe if Hansen bets this hand, Scotty's going to call him.
Scotty's got an ace.
Checked also.
Scotty's got an ace.
No.
Looks like Scotty's going to win the hand with 10s and trays, ace high.
Scotty turns over the ace. He wins this pot. Wow, that was quite a call by Scotty on the flop, Vince, I'll tell you. He felt the ace was the best hand. He called on the flop when it come 10-3-3. He ends up winning this pot with ace high, and he's also sent a message to Gus. You're just not going to run all over the game.
We are in the thick of it, Mike.
We're going to take a break in the action. You are watching the World Poker Tour.
From Hollywood, Costa Rica, Aruba, and San Francisco. The finest poker from around the world. More to come on the World Poker Tour. It's fun!
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. So far, Scotty Wynn has been dominating the action, mixing it up on a lot of hands and taking down pots with superb reads. Overall, he's gaining momentum.
The chip positions hadn't changed much so far. Hansen's still a leader with over $1 million. John Uwanda's in second, about the same as he started with nearly 600,000 in chips. Deeb is about the same, and Hennigan and Chris Bigler are getting short. They're going to have to play something here soon. So here we go with the action. Hennigan will be the first to speak.
Well, you see here, John Hennigan now has King Jack offsuit. Not a decent hand.
He does. He limps in. He calls the big blind in first position with the King Jack.
Scotty has junk, throws it away.
Hansen throws it away, and here comes Deeb on the button. Deeb also limp with the King Queen. Bigler picks up 2 aces in the blind, and he moves all in.
And not just the half the bet. This is kind of interesting. He goes in the whole way.
Chris Bigler is the tightest player in the game. I'm sure he'll get great respect from these players every time he moves all in.
Yep, threw it away.
He throws it away. Deeb throws his hand away. They give him respect, as he deserves, as you can see. When he moves all in, he's got the goods.
Now, we should explain that if you have fewer chips than someone has already bet, you can still call. If you win, you can only win as many chips from the other guy as you had at the start of the hand. Like sometimes in the classic cowboy movies, you know, the cowboy will make a big bet and the rancher doesn't have enough money. And so the rancher will say, well, I don't have enough, but I'll put up my ranch for the rest of it. That doesn't happen in the poker world. In the real poker world, you can always call a bet, but you can only win as much as you had in that pot.
And if you lose, you're out of the tournament.
Look at that smile from a man that just had aces and won a nice pot.
When you're all in and win the pot, you're always smiling. In this case, I honestly think you bet too much in this hand. I think you want to get some action with aces. If I was him, I'd have bet about 40,000 right there. He picked up the blind. He's still a short stack.
I would not consider myself as a real professional player, and definitely not a gambler. There's a big difference between a poker player and a gambler.
All right, here we go.
Scotty looking at his hand. King junk, throws it away.
Here comes Hansen again.
King 8 offsuit.
Gus opens the pot for 19.
Gus is bumping it up.
He's staying in his aggressive mode with the King 8 offsuit. He's just trying to pick up the blinds and ante. And Deeb is looking at his stack here. He looks like he's going to raise this pot.
With not a great hand at all.
An ace 8 offsuit is all he has. But I guarantee you the way he's stacking those chips out there, he is going to raise this pot.
51 more.
You're right, you're right.
51,000 raised.
He raises 51,000 with an ace 8 offsuit.
Is that going to backfire?
I don't think it's going to backfire because I don't see how Gus can call his raise. That's a strong play to re-raise a razor.
Oh, there he goes. Gus is out.
If they don't have a big hand, they fold. That's exactly what happened here.
He wins the pot.
And there's a message that Freddie Deeb is sending to Gus, and that is, you're not going to run all over me, and you're not going to just raise and take every single pot. Freddie can see that if he's going to get in there and get some chips, he's going to have to come over the top of Hansen. He did it there with a marginal hand, ace-8 offsuit. Great play by Deeb to win that pot, and it'll be interesting to see if a little rivalry breaks out here.
I usually don't play too many tournaments. It's actually my first final table, but I love competition.
Well, he's been the most aggressive player the last 4 days. I don't look for him to change his style today. Here we go.
Gassim has a junk hand, throws it away quickly. Chris taking a look, chucks it.
John, you want to call 6,000?
Well, he limps in with the 7-8 of diamonds. I mean, people like to see a flop with that hand.
That's a pretty good hand in this position.
Hennigan calls 6,000.
Now, Hennigan, sitting right behind him, also calls on the button with the king 4 of diamonds. Scotty folds in the small blind. And Gus knocks the table. So we're going to have three-way action here. And look at this. All three players have diamonds, and 2 diamonds come on the flop. Hansen checks.
That's 8 diamonds out right now.
Yeah, but they don't know that. I'll tell you, it's going to be interesting. Some fireworks could develop here. Uwanda checks. And here comes Hennigan.
John bets 12,000.
12,000 on the button.
Gus calls.
Hansen is a flush draw, so he calls a 12,000. And now it's going to be interesting. Everybody has a flush draw. John Uwanda, who has a straight flush draw, ironically has the worst hand with just an 8-high flush draw. Both of them have him beat. It's going to be interesting to see what Uwanda does here.
Uwanda raises.
He raises it up to 44,000.
He has a straight draw. He thinks he could win with a flush. And he's trying to say to them, you probably don't have a jack, but you may now think that I have a jack.
Even though you have a flush draw here, you're scared of a jack. So flush draw is not that great of a thing because of the pair of jacks out there. It's going to be interesting to see what Hennigan does here. He's got a short stack, so look at the look on Hennigan's face here.
All in.
Johnny Hennigan goes all in.
He moves all in here for $137,000. Gus throws his flush draw away, and now he's put the test over here on John Uwanda here. Now, Uwanda has a straight flush draw, but he knows he has the worst hand at this moment. Now, the question is, does he want to call another 100,000 or so with his straight flush draw?
Sure he does. Because he has a straight draw, he has a flush draw. He thinks Hennigan raised before the flop. He thinks maybe he had a big pair.
Well, there's about 230,000 in the pot already, so it's going to cost him nearly 100,000 more to call. He does call. Look at this. He does call with a straight flush draw. He knows he's got to hit something to get out. Hennigan turns up the king 4 diamonds, and John Uwanda does not like to see that, I can assure you. And look at this, a diamond comes on the turn.
John Hennigan makes a king high flush. John Uwanda needs a 10 of diamonds.
Now, in this case, he doesn't know it, but he's drawing dead. It looks like he needs a 10 of diamonds to win the pot. But we know that Gus Hansen had the 10 of diamonds, so he was actually drawing dead in this hand once the diamond came on 4th Street. So I give Hennigan a lot of credit for moving over the top with a king high flush draw on that spot. He doubles up. He's going to be a force.
To be a poker player at this level, you'd have to have a lot of intuition, being able to guess what people are doing just by the way they might move their hand. I mean, you just get a sense for people. I mean, when you have the 10 of diamond, that spot.
All right, let's get to the next hand. Chris Bigler is the first to speak here. Bigler folds, Uwanda folds, and here comes Hennigan. You know he's going to raise with the 7s, and he does. He makes it 15,000 to go.
Raise 15,000.
Scotty folds on the button.
Gus is calling.
Gus has called 15,000, and Kassim is going to call 9,000 more. So look at this. We had a 3-way action flop here, and here comes a flop. King, Queen, 7. Now this is going to be interesting because Gus has flopped the top pair with 2 kings, yet John Hennigan has flopped 3 7s. Gus leads out and bets 25,000 on the flop.
Kassim folds.
Kassim folds his straight draw. And Hennigan calls.
He just calls, which is interesting.
He's trapping here, Ben.
That's right.
He's trapping. A 6 of clubs, the perfect card to come off for Hennigan's hand. Now here comes Hansen. Now Hansen's bet 40,000, and again, Hennigan just calls him.
John calls.
He does not raise back with a set in this pot.
Different card's an ace.
It's definitely a scare card for Gus, but it also doesn't necessarily make Hennigan all that happy. And that in case Hansen had Jack 10, he would have made a straight to beat his 3 7s. We know he didn't, but Hansen didn't like that ace, and he checked.
Gus checks.
I'm certain Hennigan will bet. Let's see how much he bets.
Yeah, he did. He bet, and now Gus is sick about this hand. Look at him. Disgusted. He thinks the ace probably just beat him. Little did he know.
That's why he's disgusted. He doesn't really know how lucky he was in this pot not to lose more money. He doesn't know how lucky the ace came off, because if it didn't, he's going to lose a lot of money in this pot. He has a chance to get away from this hand now.
The people that don't know poker real well, look at the patience that Hennigan had to have three of a kind and just set up his opponent. Act as if he didn't have much. Just call, just call.
Well, Hansen knows Hennigan raised before the flop. He called a bet on the flop. He called a bet on 4th Street. He knows he's got something here.
Gus threw it away.
And sure enough,
Gus folds. John Hennigan wins the hand.
he was smart enough to lay that hand down.
And he's not going to show his hand, is he? Doesn't want to give that away, that he's setting him up, that he's trapping him.
Sure enough. Okay, as Hennigan stacking the second pot in a row, he's getting on a little roll just at the right time, because the price of poker is going up, Vince. We're now earning $2,000 a man, and the blinds are 5 and 10,000. It means there's 27,000 laying out on the table for anybody to pick up a pot now.
Hennigan has built up his stack and is primed to make a move. He's becoming a force to be reckoned with.
There's a break in the action. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
So far, John Hennigan set up beautiful trap for chip leader Gus Hansen. Hennigan is now in position to challenge anyone at the table. And in Elimination Texas Hold'em, only one player will be left standing at the end of the evening.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour.
Okay, players are now playing with a $2,000 ante, $5,000 and $10,000 blind.
Gus is still in front, but in second, third, fourth, and fifth, everybody has about the same amount of money. And then Chris is lagging way behind. He's going to have to push it and play aggressively.
Let's see what happens. Here's Hansen. He's gone out. Now here comes Freddie. He's just limped in.
With a pretty good hand, though. Jack Queen.
Well, he's got Queen Jack offsuit. He's trying to see a flop, a cheap flop here. Bigler folds his hand.
Now look at this. Look at this. Now Johnny Uwanda has picked up a dream hand. 2 cowboys. You can call them Kinkerbells, whatever you want, but he's got 2 kings in. He's going to raise with that.
Kinkerbells. 60,000 to go. He makes it.
Whatever you want to call it, you want to get them. 2 Kinkerbells I'll take any time.
And again, Scotty folding the blinds, and now we're back to Deeb, who's got Queen Jack, and he folds the Queen Jack. So Deeb limped in, and Uwanda raised it 50,000. Picks up the pot with 2 kings on the
Shows it.
He shows the pocket kings. That's interesting.
Advertising a little bit there.
Not too many guys have shown their cards today, if you notice, and I think it's very smart. He's just letting him know he has a hand, maybe because he's going to start bluffing, but he wants him to think he's always got a hand when he raises. Let's see if he shows a bluff.
You know, I think all 6 of us are very successful poker players. Who worries me the most? They all do.
All right, here we go to the next hand. Deeb will be the first to speak, and he throws his hand away. Chris mucks his hand. Uwanda throws his hand away. Here comes Hennigan.
Hennigan calls 10,000.
He just limps in on the button. He's trying to sneak in for a flop here.
He's in very good position. He saw the guys to the right of him already folded. Why not call?
Now Scotty, look at Scotty. He limps in also. He's looking to see a flop, and Gus knocks the table. So we have 3-way action here.
Flop is 8-8-5, 3 suits.
Uh-oh. This hand could spell trouble for somebody.
Scotty bets 20,000.
Scotty's bet 20,000. Hansen folds.
John raises, makes it 40,000 total. John raises.
It's a very small raise. He raised it 20,000. Scotty has ace-5 of hearts. He knows the guy limped in on the button. But on the other hand, he may be thinking Hennigan's just trying to take the pot away from him. So I'd expect him to call this.
All he really has is a pair of 5s with an ace kicker.
Scotty's going to re-raise. He called the $20,000 raise and raised 50,000 more.
He doesn't call. He's trying to get more information. He re-raises 50,000. Hennigan sitting over there with 3/8. Look at him.
Perfect position. He's trapping Scotty. Did a beautiful job by just raising 20,000. It trapped him, and he's in a great position, and he knows it. Look at him milking it. Look at him milking it.
John calls the 50,000 raise.
He just calls. He's doing just what you said. He's going for the trap.
Next card is the king.
4th Street, the king of clubs comes off. It's no help to Scotty. Now, Scotty's got to know he was re-raised and got called by a re-raise. So in his mind, I believe Scotty thinks he's got a 6-7 in the hole.
Scotty bets 120,000.
120,000. Scotty's made a big bet at this pot after getting called a $50,000 re-raise.
All he has is a 5 in his hand.
That's pretty bold play on Scotty's part, in my opinion. It's a pretty bold play.
Look at Hennigan milk this. Look at him taking his time.
You are right about that. He's definitely, it's just a matter if he's going to call or if he's going to move in on him.
There he goes.
John calls.
He's called 120,000.
Very sneaky.
Now, I can tell you right now, Scotty's not feeling good. Look at his face. He is not feeling good about this hand. He doesn't like his 5s anymore, I promise you.
John calls.
Now an ace comes on the river. Now this gives Scotty aces and 8s with a king kicker. This is a very famous poker hand. This is a dead man's hand.
No.
Scotty check. John says he's all in.
He's checked, and John Hennigan quickly moves all in. He didn't even bat an eye. Now Scotty's replaying this hand in his mind. He's going through every stage, bet, re-raise, and action of what's happened. He knows he's been called by 2 re-raises. He was called 120,000 cold. Now, virtually all that can beat Scotty here is a 3rd 8. He's got aces and 8s with a king kicker. So for him to get beat in this hand, he's going to have to put Hennigan on an 8. This is a major pot in this tournament right here. It's $192,000 to him, 192. There's a lot of money in this pot. For Scotty, this is the tournament. This is a decision. Look at his face. This is critical for Scotty. If he calls this pot, he's virtually out of this tournament.
He's got a question. Was I trapped? Now he's thinking maybe I was.
You call me all the way down to catch an ace, huh?
Trying to get him to talk.
I bet you get 7 high in that.
You got a little body language out of Hennigan.
Come on, man, it's TV. How could I have 7 high?
Scotty doesn't like it, but I'll tell you. He has to put Hennigan on an 8. If he does so, he'll lay this hand down. If he doesn't, he'll virtually be out of this tournament.
All right, man. I give it up. I get there and I give it up.
Scotty folds.
He's showing his hand. He's throwing it away.
He showed that ace and threw his hand away.
John Hennigan wins the pot.
Now that surprises me. He would show that hand.
Now Hennigan, of course, is not showing his hand. He's sick that he didn't get Scotty to call that last bet.
The truth is, he knows underneath it all, Scotty made a great lay down there. He doesn't want Scotty to know it to give him more confidence. He did not show the 3/8. He mucked his hand like most every pro would do. Look at Scotty. Scotty'd like to know if he had that 8, I can tell you that. Scotty made a great lay down there. I give him credit. I'm not sure how many people could have laid it down when an ace came at the river there. Scotty did so.
That's another great trap for Hennigan, and despite his cards and losing chips, Scotty is in the zone, making crucial reads. And sometimes that's all it takes to win big.
There's a lot more poker to play. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We're here at Bellagio's 5-Diamond World Poker Classic, and it's been an exciting day so far. Scotty Nguyen started the day on a high note by taking the first pot, but since then he's been singing the blues with bad cards and bad luck, culminating in losing over half of his stack to John Hennigan. Let's see what Scotty can do to rebuild his stack of chips as we get back to the action.
Okay, Vince, look at Scotty. That last pot took a serious blow to his stack of chips. He lost well over 200,000 in that last pot, and he's still wondering, did he have the third eight?
He doesn't know it, but you know what? What a great drop at the very end. So John Hennigan is the first to act here. Scotty at 9. He's just miserable. Look at him.
He's not feeling too good right now.
It's just a bad day for Scotty.
It's not over yet, though. Hennigan folds, Scotty folds. And here comes Hansen raising the pot 35,000.
This could be heat.
Now this hand has got 2 8s. Look at this.
Kasim calls 35,000.
And Deeb with 2 queens limping on the button, calling the 35,000 cold.
And he's obviously just setting up Gus.
Both the blinds fold. And here we go with our rivalry match again. We got Hansen and Deeb one more time. Here comes the flop.
Flop is King 7-7, 2 hearts.
King 7-7. I can tell you when you're holding 2 queens like Deeb, you're not real thrilled to see a king come flopping out there.
Notice what Kasim, how he's looking at Gus right now. He's just saying, do you have a king? Do you have a king? He's checking him out so carefully.
Okay, there's about 100,000 in the pot right now. Here comes Gus. I would expect Gus to bet this flop, and he's going to.
Gus bets 45,000.
Hansen bets 45,000. Now look at Deeb. He's trying to get some info. He doesn't want to lay these queens down, but the king has got to make you put the brakes on a little bit now. Because he didn't raise with the 2 queens before, he's now put himself in a little box here, and he doesn't know how to play it.
Kasim calls.
He's called, though. He calls 45,000.
Neither player likes their position, actually.
So here we go to 4th Street.
Now the 5 of diamonds.
It's King 7-7. We get a 5 on the turn. Now let's see who's going to bet with their pair here.
Notice that neither player feels comfortable because even though Gus made that big bet, Kasim calls it, just calls it. So he's saying he's seeing through me, so neither player feels secure.
Well, Vince, put yourself in their seats. Would you be secure?
No.
Believe me, this is a difficult hand to play. This is not easy.
Gus checks.
You check? Good.
And they both checked on 4th Street.
Look at this card.
Oh, my golly. Oh. Gus has made 3 8s. He's made 8s full in this hand.
Miracle pull.
Oh, my golly. He's hit a 2-outer against Freddie. But look at him. He looks like the Rock of Gibraltar. He doesn't flinch when that card comes up. He doesn't light up like a Christmas tree. This is a lesson for players at home. Remain calm, cool, and collected when you hit your card at the river like he's done. Gus is going to bet this pot.
Gus bets 80,000.
Now, in Deeb's mind, there's no way that card could help him.
That's right.
So in his mind, he's either got his queens beat already or not. You know, you're not going to assume that the 8 has got you beat. So Freddie, if he thinks they had him beat before, is certainly going to call him here.
And Kasim calls.
And he does. He calls him.
And it's a full house for Gus. He's made 8s full on the last card. Pocket 8s.
Look at Freddie's face here. This is not going to make him feel good at all.
And he's going to hate the way he
He's
played
got
it.
2 queens. He's saying to himself, oh, my golly, I should have raised on before the flop. That's where I think the error was made in this hand. Gus knows he's lucky to win this pot. You see Gus is stacking his chips. He's feeling good now. He's on a nice roll. He's the big chip leader in this tournament.
Look at Kasim's face. You wouldn't think he just had a horrible beat.
Well, to win these championship events, you've got to maintain your composure, Vince. When you take a bad beat like that, you just got to overcome it.
Bad luck, bad beats. It's time for the WPT Poker Corner. In poker, a beat is when a strong hand loses to a lucky hand. A bad beat is when it happens to you.
Just stay away from bad beat, baby.
They occur in every tournament to almost every player. A great hand loses to some guy who gets the one card he needs to win at the last possible moment.
What happened? I got 2 10s, you got 2 queens.
No matter that the odds are stacked in your favor or that you are clearly the better player, all your careful calculations and skillful play can still end up losing out to some Hollywood ending. All you can do is try to give as good as you get and hope that someone else's miracle draw doesn't end up sending you home.
Oh, well, I flopped a set against a pair and for double pair, the ace came on the end. So, what can you do? It's part of the game.
Bad beats are going to happen. If you're a poker player, you know that going in. But when they do happen, you still have to ask yourself one question. Why me?
A major draw out. Gus Hansen just put on Deeb.
Kasim now trying to compose himself, but there's nothing worse.
And look at Kasim. He's holding the king 4 of clubs. Not a great hand. He'd be happy to pick up the blinds.
Kasim Deeb just took a tough beat. You know, sometimes when you lose a tough one like that, you should just take a walk, play a few slot machines, maybe go to the gift shop, buy yourself some candy. But no, he's going to raise this one.
And now Scotty in the big blind, who's on tilt. He's got a jack 10.
Scotty calls.
Wow, he calls this hand. I'm surprised. He's only got 90-some thousand. He calls 25,000 more. Scotty's just looking to make a hand and try to double up and stay alive and get back in the hunt here.
Flop comes jack, king, trey, offsuit.
Deeb has 2 kings and Scotty has 2 jacks.
Improve both players. This is very interesting.
I check.
Scotty checks, and Deeb, who has the top pair with 2 kings.
Kasim bet 60,000.
He's bet, so he's going to set Scotty all in if Scotty plays. He's going to have to help this hand or he's going to be out of the tournament. Now, Scotty, you're going to put him on a king or bluff, or he might have the best hand. I mean, Scotty feels a little desperate now. He's short on chips. I think he's got to make a stand. And look at Kasim. After Scotty's taken all this time, Kasim wants him to call here, I believe, for sure. Scotty's sort of desperate right now. You know, things haven't gone his way. He's got to do something. He's got to try to double up to get back in the hunt. And here comes Scotty. He's calling. He's going all in.
Scotty raises all in. 69,000 total.
Now, Scotty has a jack 10 and Kasim has king 4. So what that means is Scotty is about a 5-to-1 underdog at this point to win this pot.
Kasim's got the best hand with the kings. Scotty's got jacks.
Kasim is a big favorite to win this pot with his 2 kings. Scotty's going to have to get very lucky to outdraw him to stay alive in this tournament.
10 on the turn.
And a 10 comes on the turn. Look.
Scotty makes 2 pair. Now Scotty's got the lead.
Now Kasim has got to catch a king, a 3, or a 4.
River card's a 6.
He doesn't do it.
Scotty stays alive and doubles up.
Scotty has come from behind in this pot. He has outdrawn Kasim Deeb. He's doubled up, and this is going to give him a little confidence, a little boost. He needed a break like this. He's got one, and let's see what he can do with it.
Well, that Scotty is one heck of a player, and our own Shauna Hyatt got to spend a little time with him.
Thanks, Vince. Scotty Nguyen is an incredible player with an even more incredible story. I sat down with him today, and this is what he had to say.
You know, most people they ask me like, why you always say like you're gonna win it? And I will tell you over and over, I will win it. But if I fail, let it be. Always next year. I grew up in Vietnam. I grew up in a hard time, in a very poor country. My mom, my dad, they getting old, they can't make any more money, and I want to help them out.
So Scotty went to help his family in the only way he knew how.
See, I played poker when I was 7. Street, baby. If I want those pair of shoes on that kid, I ask him to play poker with me. I win the shoes. I win the shirt. I win, you know, my mom, my dad stopped worrying about me. We heard about Vegas in Vietnam. I came here. I'm a busboy. I working so hard, and every day, I don't go straight home. I go straight to the poker room and watch people play.
And now after 10 years of playing professional poker, Scotty has made it to more final tables and more tournaments than any other player. With career earnings topping $2 million, Scotty does indeed know how to win.
It don't matter where you put me. Some way, somehow, Scotty come through it, you know?
Scotty Nguyen is starting to feel a little confidence.
Vince, I'm amazed we played this long without losing a player, quite frankly. Chris Bigler's playing very tight and snug. Scotty has gotten his composure back. John Uwanda has been a very conservative player. He's sitting back waiting to see what happens. And Freddie Deeb is capable of making some moves, as we've seen. Hansen is the most aggressive player at the table, but now Hennigan that's got some chips, he's also being aggressive. Here the action is on John Hennigan. Now, he just has an 8-3 of hearts, but look at this. He's raising with it, Vince.
Well, look at this. Scotty has a real hand, a pair of 10s wired.
Scotty calls.
Scotty has called 40,000.
Gus says raise.
Look at this. Gus Hansen has picked a big slick, an ace-king in his hand. Very strong hand.
150,000, $110,000 raise.
And he's coming over the top for $150,000. Look at Scotty calling his chips off. He's a short stack in the tournament. I'm looking for him to make a stand here with these two tens.
Scotty calls $110,000 raise.
Scotty's calling it.
Sure enough. He calls the $150,000. He's saving a few chips. I don't know why. He's just only got about $30,000, $40,000 left. And the flop comes 5-6, jack of hearts.
There's the $400,000 pot.
Scotty Wynn moves in quickly.
Scotty's moving all in.
He has two tens with the 10 of hearts, giving him a flush draw. And here comes Gus. He's going to call this, obviously. He's got ace-king with the king of hearts.
He's got pocket tens. Gus has ace-king with one heart.
Scotty still has to dodge an ace or a king or a heart. If he doesn't, he's out of this tournament.
This is going to put the champion from Vietnam on the ropes. Can he hang in there?
Welcome back. We're back to the action. Scotty's got two tens with the king of hearts. As we know, Gus Hansen has ace-king with the king of hearts. Scotty has the best hand right now. Gus is going to need an ace or a king. 4th Street is the ace of hearts. Scotty Wynn is drawing dead.
Scotty Wynn becomes our 6th place finisher.
Look at him. He's walking away. What a tough beat.
Right on 4th Street, Gus Hansen made the nuts. He made the very best hand that you could possibly have at that stage. Scotty Wynn was drawing dead after that.
Scotty Wynn gets beat by a higher flush. A class gentleman, and look at him shaking hands, but he's absolutely sick about this.
No question he's disappointed in 6th place. Scotty Wynn, one of the greatest poker players in the world today, former world champion. And you can bet that all these guys are thrilled that the guy with the most experience, by far the most titles under his belt, is out of this event. He takes home a little bit over $48,000.
Well, we couldn't have asked for better hosts here at the tournament.
Well, you're right, Vince. The Bellagio is quite a place, and they certainly have treated the poker players like royalty all week.
Absolutely. And once again, our intrepid host, Shauna, had the tough assignment of showing us around.
Yeah, she really did. Shauna?
Boasting the hottest poker room in Vegas and a 5-diamond resort property, Bellagio is chosen as the perfect launching pad for the World Poker Tour. Players spent the first 4 days playing beneath Italian frescoes and dining on food prepared by the best chefs in the world. And if Lady Luck defied them at the tables, their punishment was to explore one of the hottest properties on the Las Vegas Strip. Breathtaking art and shows, endless pools and high-end shopping, and fountains that leave the visitor awestruck. Bellagio has reinvented old world class in this desert oasis. On the 5th day of the tournament, play has moved into the opulent Bellagio ballroom to accommodate the World Poker Tour arena and the overflowing Bellagio audience.
How come she gets to have all the fun, Vince?
Take a good look in the mirror, Mike.
You got a good point there. Let's get back to the action. Well, that was quite a pot Gus Hansen just won. He had the ace-king. Had Scotty moved all in with his two tens over the top of Gus Hansen, the question is, would Gus have called $230,000 with the ace-king offsuit? That's the $64,000 question that we don't know the answer to.
We'll never know for sure now, but you see, look at these guys, they're all happy. You know, it's like a bunch of sharks around. They know that one of them is down, and now there's only 5 of them. They're all kind of smiling.
No question about it. They all move up in the money, and they got rid of the former world champion, the most experienced player. Chris Bigler's going to be the first to speak here.
Rightfully so. Look what he has there. A pair of queens.
Chris is going to bet all in.
He's moved all in with his two queens, $157,000.
Johnny Uwanda has a pretty good hand, too, normally speaking. King, queen of hearts, but he's got to consider who he's playing against.
And he wisely folded against this man. Now look at Hennigan. Now Hennigan's been on a good roll.
Right.
He's got an ace-queen offsuit.
John Hennigan calls him.
I'm not sure I like this call against this guy. In other words, he's been on a roll. He's running good. He's feeling good. But Bigler hasn't played a pot in a long, long time. He's just a rock. I'm not sure calling 157K cold in this hand with an ace-queen is a good idea at all.
Of course, he knows if he beats him and he outdraws him here, that he gets him out of the tournament. He gets Bigler out of the tournament. So that's tempting.
Flop comes 6, 3, 3, 2 diamonds.
John Hennigan has ace-queen. Chris Bigler has two queens.
And there's a king.
John Hennigan now needs an ace, or Chris Bigler will double up.
It's a 4. The 2 queens are going to hold up. Chris Bigler has doubled up.
And Chris Bigler has doubled up. Now here's a hand I think Hennigan made a mistake.
Look at that sigh of relief. Chris Bigler excited. He waited very patiently for the pair of queens, and it did pay off.
The blinds are $10,000 and $20,000, and we're playing with a $2,000 ante. That means it costs $40,000 to play one round of poker.
Yeah, it starts pushing it up. Makes them make decisions a little bit faster here, right?
5 players left. The action will be on Kasim Deeb.
Kasim opens the pot for $75,000.
He opens the pot for $75,000.
Chris folds.
Bigler folds. Uwanda folds. Hennigan folds. Back to his man, Hansen.
Hansen with a junk hand, 3-5 offsuit.
He's got nothing, but he's taking his time now. This is interesting to me.
Well, the rivalry is so great. They've both been bluffing each other, and they don't know. So maybe he's going to come back and raise him, or maybe he's just going to get out.
No, he decides to give it up wisely. So Kasim Deeb puts another $40,000 in the stack. He's on the comeback trail.
Gus Hansen and Kasim Deeb are 2 poker players with 2 very different approaches to the game.
I have a very aggressive style.
To be a winning player, you have to have good discipline. You have to be able to evaluate every hand, every player.
I'm not gonna sit down and make a plan up to the final table. I mean, some guys are likely to call me, and some guys are scared.
The 28-year-old Hansen is a relative newcomer to poker, and the Bellagio is his first ever final table.
I like to beat the other guy.
Kasim, on the other hand, has been a high-stakes regular at the Bellagio for years, although that's not what he tells his parents.
I tell him investments, which is true, I invest, but they don't know in what.
But after the cards are dealt, players put their tactics to the test.
Well, I started out the day with $460,000, and I played a hand against Gus. I overplayed my hand, and I lost like $350,000. When that happens to you, sometimes you don't play so comfortable.
In almost any gambler's career, he's gonna go broke.
I try to play 100%. You know, try to make as less mistakes as I can.
Not saying that I'm a great player or anything, but I mean, I guess somebody has to win.
Gus inherits the button this hand.
Can't wait all day for that card.
Uwanda's first to speak, and he folds. Hennigan limps in with the Queen 9 of diamonds for $20,000. Gus Hansen calls the $20,000. Deeb calls 10 more thousand. Look at this. We got a 4-way pot out of 5 players. Here comes the flop. 9-7-4 with 2 spades. We're going to see some fireworks here. You can buckle up here on this flop.
2 players have flopped 2 pair each. Chris thinking that he has the better. He says 7s and 4s. Not as good as Gus Hansen with 9s and 7s.
$45,000 bet by John Hennigan.
Now, Gus Hansen, who's flopped the top 2 pair here, is certainly going to play this pot. Now, look at Bigler on the other hand. We know Bigler's flopped 2 pair. He's watching this action intently because he knows he's going to play this hand too. Gus just calls.
Kasim folds.
Gus just calls the $45,000. Bigler's going to make a play here. There's no way that he can throw this hand away.
Gus did a little Marlon Brando there. He's just playing it so cool. Look at him.
Now, this is an amazing hand here for Chris Bigler.
What do? You have 2 pair on the flop.
Getting his chips is like pulling hen's teeth. And all of a sudden, in the big blind, he's got trap with a hand. I don't see how he's going to get away from it. Here he goes. Look.
Moves all in.
He's moved all in over the top of the raise and the caller.
I call.
John Hennigan calls.
Whoa.
That's kind of surprising.
Look at this. John Hennigan's calling us about $250,000, and now look at Gus. Gus rocks back in his chair.
Gus is not just thinking about Chris Bigler. He's thinking about how he's going to suck John Hennigan after with the side pot, perhaps.
Well, he can't play around now. They've just put $500,000 in the pot. I don't see how he can just call this. If a guy's got a flush draw, you can't let him draw for nothing. I mean, the only way he can get beat is somebody's got a set. I mean, Gus is going to play this hand. $200,000 raise by Bigler. Hennigan calls him.
It's up to Gus.
And look at Gus. He keeps glancing over.
I'm all in.
He goes all in. He's moved over the top of both of them. Look at this hand.
This is a time to do that.
Whoa. And now Hennigan, with his queen nine, all of a sudden it's shrunk up to oblivion. He's mucked his hand. He put in 250,000 there with his queen nine of diamonds. He's not happy about the way this hand was developed.
Turn them up, please, gentlemen.
And look at this hand. Let's look at Bigler's face. He's not going to like this.
Gus has 9-7, flops top 2 pair. Chris has 7 floor, has bottom 2 pair.
He's got to catch a 4 to stay alive in this tournament. There's nothing Chris could do about this. He needs a 4. A deuce comes off. He's dead to a 2-outer, or he's going to be our 5th place finisher.
Cards a 6.
A 6 comes off.
Gus wins the pot. Chris Bigler becomes our 5th place finisher.
Chris Bigler comes off a 5th place finisher. Now, what's ironic there, Vince, is if either one of those players would have raised before the flop there, you know Bigler would have thrown that hand away.
Chris wins $62,604. Gus Hansen retakes the lead.
Nearly $1 million pot. Bigler finishes 5th in this competition. There's no way he could have got away from that hand. Really disappointed, but he did nothing wrong. He knows he just played unlucky. He got trapped in a pot that he couldn't get away from. You know, sometimes there's just hands you can't get away from, Vince. I don't believe he could have got away from that hand.
He's a great player, but it's going to be a long walk back to Switzerland.
Bigler's conservative strategy took him to the final table. But today, the name of the game is aggressive play. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We are in the Bellagio in Las Vegas for the 5-Diamond World Poker Classic. So Chris Bigler, a great tournament player from Switzerland, finishes in 5th position today and takes home over $62,000.
That is definitely something to yodel about.
Well, Gus Hansen, it'll take him a while to stack those chips up. He won a monster pot there. He's now the huge chip leader. He played that hand perfectly, got max results. We're down to the final 4, and Hansen has knocked out both players that have been eliminated so far, Vince.
Goes to show you have to have a little luck. Gus hanging in there with a 9-7 offsuit, got a little luck, and is really getting paid off big time for it.
Well, it was luck, but I like the position calls he makes there. He calls with those kind of hands on the button in case he gets a big flop, just like he did. Wins monster pots with them, and I gave him credit for that. Here we go. Deeb is on the button. Hansen's the first to speak here, and he picks up a big hand. King, queen of clubs. First to speak. Let's see what he does. He comes in for 60,000, and Deeb folds, and Uwanda folds, and we're up to Hennigan. Not a big hand, but he's got an ace, and he calls with it. Well, the flop is deuce 4-7. Now this gives Hennigan a belly buster straight draw.
Hey, Mike, come on now. Don't get tricky on us with your fancy poker talk. What that means is he has one shot to catch that straight.
That's right. He needs a 3 right in the belly to make his straight.
You're absolutely right. Gus has just checked.
Next card off is an 8. This gives Hennigan a 2-way straight. He can make a straight with a 3 or a 6. And here he comes. He's firing at the pot.
70,000.
He bets 70,000.
Wins the pot.
And he picks up the pot. I think that's a very good bet by Hennigan there.
What the hell was
He
that?
didn't give Hansen any more free cards to win that pot. He bet it on 4th Street. He picked up the pot. 128,000 he puts in his stack. Good play by John Hennigan.
John Hennigan likes to play it cool. He also plays it better than anyone else.
John Hennigan is, probably one of the best poker player in the world right now.
He's very sophisticated. He's like the most sophisticated player on the table.
Hennigan reached the top of his profession by keeping things simple.
Poker's a funny game. Weird things are going to happen. You can't really let that get the best of you. You just have to be better than the next guy.
And by having what it takes to win.
You just get a sense for people. You have to study them and really pay attention to what they're doing.
And if you think it's better to be lucky than good, the Philadelphia-born Hennigan wants to tell you something. You're wrong.
It's hard for people to understand a game where they think it's all luck. Why would they think that somebody has to be smart to play a game that involves such a great degree of luck when it really doesn't? You could sit there and just outthink your opponent. I play poker mostly every day, so this is just another day. It's going to be a bit more exciting than most days, but I'll be ready, I guess.
We're back at the World Poker Tour. down to 4 players. Mike, what do you think of the flow of this game right now?
Well, the flow of the game, as I see it, is John Hennigan is starting to become a force to really be reckoned with in this competition. He's come from the low stack to almost the chip leader. He's taken the play a little bit away from Gus, who had total command of the game until John Hennigan got a hold of these chips. Now, John seems to be what they call the table captain, as opposed to Gus, in my viewpoint.
John Hennigan has picked up a 6-7 of hearts.
He calls. Gus throws away a 10-7 on the button. Deeb called with a deuce-4 of diamonds. But keep in mind, there's about 60,000 out there. It cost him 10 more thousand to call. He's trying to see a free flop.
Well, Johnny Uwanda has a king-10, different suits, but maybe he sensed a little weakness there.
I go all in. John Uwanda's moving all in. Everybody else moves out. It's John's spot.
And John Uwanda moves all in with this hand. So give John a lot of credit here. He saw him limping in. He wasn't going to give him a free flop where he could get beat. He's going to say, if you can beat this king high, good luck to you.
Johnny Uwanda, the instincts of a champion.
An excellent play by John Uwanda right there. The action's on Gus Hansen, our chip leader. And sure enough, he comes in for 70,000. Deeb folds on the button, and John Uwanda, who just picked up that last pot out of the small blind here. Look at this, back to back. He's gone back to back, Vince. He's all in again. About 250,000. And against fold, and it's up to Gus.
Oh, he's playing fast. What's Gus going to do?
Gus came in for 70,000. He was first to speak. Uwanda moved over the top, all in. Second consecutive hand, Uwanda's moved all in. Looks to me like he's starting to change gears, just like he has to do if he wants to get back in this competition.
Gus folds. John wins again.
And Gus folds. Uwanda wins back-to-back pots. And look at Gus's face. He's just not happy to lose any pots.
He's starting to twitch a little bit. He doesn't like to lose that kind of hand. Just when he thought he had all the momentum. Another great player makes a really strong raise, and he has to throw his hand away.
Okay, here's Deeb. He limps in first position for 20,000. Up to Uwanda.
Kasim calls 20,000. John Uwanda raises 70,000 more.
He raised it 70,000 more.
John Hennigan folds.
300.
Gus says 300,000.
He said 300,000.
Kasim folds.
That's all of Uwanda's chips, and Uwanda quickly calls him.
Okay, turn him up, gentlemen.
So Johnny Uwanda is trying to make a stand.
Here we go. We've got Uwanda all in against Hansen.
Gus has ace-queen. John has 2 5s. Pocket 5s against ace-queen.
Now we have the race situation. Let's see if Uwanda gets lucky and can double up here.
Flop comes king, 7, 8. John Uwanda's got the lead in the pot. Turn card's a 7. Gus has picked up a lot of wins.
He's very close to doubling up if he can dodge an ace or a queen.
River card's a 10. John Uwanda wins the pot.
A 10 comes at the river. The pair holds up. Uwanda sits back down in the seat. He's still alive in this competition. He's doubled up.
That was a scary turn card there.
Look at Gus.
Well, yeah. I mean, he thought for a second he's going to get this thing down to 3 players. Disappointed, ace-queen. Pair of 5 holes up.
There's nothing Gus can do there. I think he's got to play that hand, of course, with the ace-queen. He didn't win the race. Uwanda got lucky to win the race, to double up. But Gus can't feel bad about that play. That was the correct play.
So far, the flashy tournament veteran Scotty Wynn and the conservative but ultimately unlucky player Chris Bigler have busted out. Vegas poker pros John Hennigan and Kasim Deeb have been holding strong, whereas up-and-coming tournament phenom John Uwanda is building chips. Finally, relative newcomer Gus Hansen has lost some of his lead. Only one of them will walk away with the WPT title and over $500,000 in cash. But in poker, anything can happen.
We're back. Vince, we're down to 4 players now. It's crunch time. We're playing for the big bucks now.
So a player like Kasim now is really going to start playing pretty fast.
Well, it's 40,000 a round to play virtually.
Right.
And that means you can't get through 5 rounds, you'll be broke. So he's going to have to play a hand somewhere in the next couple rounds, as is John Uwanda. Deeb is the first to speak here. He comes in for 70,000. Uwanda folds. Hennigan folds. And Gus is in the big blind with the king 10 offsuit.
How much more do you have?
171.
Let's gamble.
Hansen is raising him.
I raise 400.
Gus says make it 400,000.
Makes it 400,000, which means what he's doing is setting Deeb all in.
I don't have 400,000.
Let's gamble first.
I mean, why don't you guys just raise what I got instead of making it 400? I might just call it.
Hey, it's okay.
What?
All right, good hand.
Kasim folds.
He took this pot away from Deeb. He took it right away from him by playing back over the top.
Oh, man, that hurts. That really hurts.
Hansen's timing is impeccable. He makes these raises exactly the right time all day.
It's like he's reading his mind. He's just saying, I know you're not that strong. I'm going to re-raise you and get you out.
He forced Deeb to have a big hand there to put all his chips, because if he calls and loses the pot, he's out of the tournament. Hansen knows that. He moved over the top to set him all in. Deeb folded his hand, and he had the best hand. We're down to the final 4 of the 5 Diamond World Poker Classic here at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Uwanda will be first to speak. Uwanda folds.
John Hennigan raises it to 70,000 on the button.
Hennigan, wired pair.
Wired pair of 5s. 2 5s are known as the speed limit, and they're known as presto in the poker world.
Kasim folds. Flop comes king, jack, deuce.
No help. Gus Hansen, a bet on anything kind of guy.
Now look at this. He has nothing here. Hennigan has the best hand. But it looks like Gus is thinking about betting this pot.
You can't be betting this pot unless it's a stone cold bluff.
He's thinking about betting this pot, and he is betting it.
I love this guy.
Gus leads out for $90,000 bet. He wins the pot.
Gus Hansen bet 90,000. He wins the pot.
That's
wow.
just a great bet with nothing.
I'm telling you, he's earning his pots. You got to take your hat off and salute this guy. Very well done. Had he checked, Hennigan would have bet he would have lost the pot.
That's right.
Shows you most of the time, the first guy in the pot wins the pot. Okay. The action's on John Hennigan. He looks at a 7-4 offsuit. He folds.
Now here comes the very courageous Gus Hansen. Looks at his cards. He's got a 9-queen, different suits.
Gus says raise.
And he's raising it again.
Oh, why not? You know, you're Gus Hansen. You can do these things.
70,000. He makes it.
Kasim Deeb looks at an ace-jack.
Now look at this. Now I think Deeb's going to draw the sword in the sand right here.
How come it's always these two guys going after each other? This is amazing.
Freddie's going to re-raise.
Now this is interesting.
Yeah.
He's only got about 180,000 altogether. He's going all in. He's stacking off on Henson here.
Yep. 5 days, these guys have been going at it. He's going to do it.
Uwanda gets out of the way.
It's on Gus now. He's got the problem.
These two have played a lot of pots together and played back over the top of each other a number of times today, Vince. Look at this. He just fires it out there. He's got a queen 9 offsuit.
Kasim has the best
He
hand
loves
this
to play
time
with Deeb.
Ace-jack against queen 9.
It's ace-jack against queen 9. Look at Deeb. What can happen now, it says.
Whoa! Ace,
Nothing going to happen this time. Deeb claps this time.
Let's celebrate.
Kasim's gonna double up
Yep.
here at 8 on the river.
He's as safe as a baby in her mother's arms right here. He knows it when that flop came out. Deeb doubles up in this pot.
That's the kind of flow.
Finally gets back at Gus.
Might be an omen here, Vince.
Now, this is impressive. These poker players are like boxers. I mean, they get hit, they get down, they're on the canvas, but they keep getting back up. That's why they're great. Kasim Deeb has been hit numerous times today on the canvas. He keeps getting back up.
But you can only take so many blows. You got to deliver a few here if you're going to win the title. Okay, the price of poker has just gone up. We're now anteing $3,000. The blinds are now $15,000 and $30,000. That means there's $57,000 in the pot before the flop.
Well, one mistake can get them out, and they all know it. When the blinds get this big and there's only 4 players.
Hansen's the first to speak here. And he folds.
That's a first.
Deeb folds on the button. Now we have the battle of the blinds. And look at this. John Yuanda's picked up a monster hand. He's picked up ace-king in a small blind. He's raising the pot.
John Yuanda opens pot for 110,000.
He comes in for 110,000.
Come on.
He's going all in.
I call.
Before he gets the chips in there, Yuanda calls him.
He said all in, I call.
John Yuanda calls.
It's ace-8 offsuit versus ace-king.
King.
This could be a major mistake by Hennigan.
John Hennigan has ace-8.
John Yuanda's a big favorite. Hennigan's going to have to hit an 8 here to stay alive in this tournament.
Flop comes ace-9 deuce.
The flop comes ace-9 deuce. John Hennigan will need to catch an 8 to stay alive in this tournament.
Turn card's a 5.
The turn card is a 5. He's down to 3 outs.
River card's a jack.
He
John
doesn't
Yuanda
do it.
wins the pot.
He needed to make the dead man's hand. He had to catch aces and 8s to win this pot, and instead he's the dead one.
What a way to lose it.
John Hennigan, former professional pool player from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is our 4th place finisher. He played a lot of great poker today.
Well, he played incredible. He's mixed it up all day.
You know, he was in dead stroke there for a while, but on this last hand, his shot sort of hit the rail a little bit, you know.
But for this 4th place, he will get back a nice amount of money. He gets back $83,472, so that's not too bad. Great playing by John Hennigan.
Yuanda, who's been biding his time most of the day, bolted into the strong number 2 position by knocking Hennigan out of the tournament.
We're down to 3 exciting players, the World Poker Tour. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Well, John Yuanda's feeling good now. We're stacking up these chips. You know, Vince, he's been biding his time most all day long, playing relatively conservative, and now look what he's doing.
He won that last hand with Big Slick, an ace-king. He has 2 drinks next to him. I guess when you're winning a poker tournament, you're allowed 2 drinks.
Okay, Deeb folds here in the big blind. Yuanda's on the button. He's got a little Mo working his way, Vince.
Yeah, the momentum at the right time.
All right.
He's raising.
Here he comes. 110,000 he bets on the button.
John Yuanda opens a pot for 110,000.
Now here's Gus Hansen in the small blind. Now this doesn't look like a very good hand here, but he looks like he's thinking about doing something with it. He is. Look at this, Vince.
Gus calls 110,000.
This is the gutsiest player I've ever seen. I mean, he just calls.
Look what he has, a king-7 offsuit, calling a $110,000 raise.
10-8 deuce with 2 hearts.
This flop certainly doesn't help either player. See what happens. Hansen checks. Yuanda staring him down.
John Yuanda checks.
And Yuanda checks.
10-9-8 deuce.
A 9 comes on the turn. Now that gives Gus an open-end straight. It gives Yuanda a belly buster straight, but Yuanda still has the best hand with king-queen. But Gus is first to speak here. Look at this. Gus is betting at this pot.
Gus bets 120,000.
He bet 120,000. Now he has put Yuanda to a test here. Yuanda's got king-queen, but a belly buster straight doesn't seem that attractive when you're staring at a $120,000 bet, does it, Vince?
Well, although if a jack does come up, you lock him out. You got to, he knows Gus isn't that strong.
Call.
John Yuanda calls 120,000.
He called 120. He didn't raise it. He just called 120,000 with king high. Here comes the river.
There you go.
And a king comes at the river. Oh, wow. Now this card helps both players. It gives both of them the top pair. The difference is Yuanda's got a queen kicker. This is pretty amazing. And now it's up to Gus because that card helped him too. So he might get punished because of it. Now he's sitting back, scratching his head, crossing his arms. He knows the card helped him. The question is, was Uwanda trapping him on the turn when the 9 came off there?
Well, that's real scary for Gus to bet.
He bet on 4th Street hoping to pick up the pot. He got called. Now when you get called and you're looking at 10, 9, 8, it's a little scary because there's a lot of straight possibilities, man.
Absolutely.
Here he goes. He's betting at this pot, though.
He doesn't care. This guy plays 9 sevens offsuit.
He bet 140,000. Uwanda's quickly calling him. He's not even hesitating.
John Uwanda calls.
1 pair of kings.
Gus says a pair of kings.
Says a pair of kings. Uwanda's waiting to see the kicker. And he shows a better kicker. He shows the queen high kicker.
John Uwanda wins the pot with king queen and becomes our new tournament leader.
Wow, what a pop that was for Uwanda to call that bet on 4th Street with just king high. Pretty impressive bet, I thought, by Hansen on 4th Street. I love that bet. I was surprised by Uwanda's call on 4th Street. He made a great call, hit a king at the river, paid him off, won a nice pot, $764,000. Uwanda is on the move. I think Uwanda just took the lead with that last pot. Give us a chip count, Vince.
Yes, he has taken the lead. He has about approximately 1.3 million. Second place now is Gus, and he's down to about 1.1. And Kasim is just very quietly sitting there with about $400 measly thousand.
Hansen folds on the button this time. Now look at Deeb. He's got ace king. We know he's going to play this pot.
Kasim calls 15,000 more.
Look, he just limps in. He just calls in the small blind with ace king.
Yeah, it shows the sneakiness of these players.
Look, they're going eyeball to eyeball right there.
And Kasim and John are going to take a flop here.
Deeb is slow playing ace king here. Let's see if it comes back to help him.
The flop comes king 6-5 with 2 diamonds.
This is a perfect flop for Deeb. He checks in the dark. Now Uwanda, who's flopped top pair himself here,
John bets 70,000.
comes out betting 70,000.
Now look at the acting job by Freddie Deeb.
Yep. He's going for the Oscar this hand.
He's so relaxed. Squint to the eyes there.
We know he's playing.
I go all in.
He goes all in.
Oh, there he goes.
He says he's going all in. He has check raised with the ace king. He slow played this ace king. He's trying to double up. He wasn't trying to just pick up the blinds. He wants to get back in the hunt. Now he's put the test to Uwanda. Now you're sitting there in Uwanda's seat, and you got 2 kings in this spot.
With a bad kicker.
Now, Deeb could have a straight draw. He could have a flush draw. He could have a 6.
I call.
Uwanda calls him. Uwanda thinks he's on a draw. He's not. He's got ace king.
We've got ace king.
Look at Uwanda. He's got king 7.
Ace king against king 7.
Deeb has played this pot masterfully. Now let's see if he can win it. He's got to dodge a 7 right here or a possible straight draw.
Turn is a 9.
I need a 7, 8.
A straight draw comes up a 9. In other words, Freddie can lose this pot if a 7 or an 8
It's
comes
a
up.
queen.
It doesn't. A queen comes off at the river. Deeb has doubled up.
He slow played. He trapped him.
He put the Oscar award on him. He did it all in that same hand.
He really did. He really did.
Folks, that's as good as you can play poker, the way Deeb played that hand right there. Maximum result. Any one of these 3 guys has a great chance to win this tournament. This is going to be an exciting finish. The momentum has now switched to Deeb. It was at Uwanda. Now it's at Deeb. Let's see what happens here.
Kasim raises on the button, makes it 80,000 total.
And here comes Kasim raising on the button with a 6-3 offsuit. Now, you think he's feeling his oats because he doubled up the last pot?
Gus calls the 80,000.
Oh, he sure is. He's got a little momentum. 6-3 of hearts.
Uwanda folds, and Hansen calls.
Flop comes king 4 deuce.
Deeb has flopped a gut shot straight draw. Gus has nothing.
Look at Kasim studying his rival.
80,000 bet by Gus.
Here comes Gus betting out with nothing again.
Kasim calls the 80,000.
And look at this. Deeb beats him in the pot with a gut shot straight draw.
7 of hearts on the turn.
Now look at this. They both got a flush draw.
And Deeb has an inside straight draw on top of it.
Gus has the best hand with the queen high. Be interesting to see who's going to bet this hand.
Checking.
Gus checks.
Now Deeb's sitting there. He's got a gut shot straight draw and a flush draw.
Check.
Kasim checks.
He didn't bet this hand. He checked on 4th Street. A queen comes at the river, making Gus have 2 queens and the best hand. And there's no way Deeb can win this pot unless he bluffs at it. We've got our same battle going between these two that we've had the whole tournament so far.
Gus bets 80,000.
Now 80,000 into this pot is a pretty unusually small bet here. So now Deeb, who has nothing, may be wondering if he raises him back, if he can take the pot away from him. He's counting his chips out like he's going to raise it, but
He's raising.
He's raising this pot with nothing.
With absolutely nothing. What a raise.
He's raising 170,000.
$250,000 on a stone bluff. Now put yourself in Hanson's shoes. Now Gus is in a position here. He's playing this hand back over in his mind. He's thinking, if the guy had 2 kings, why did he check it on 4th Street? If he just had 1 pair, wouldn't he just call me at the river? So in his mind, Deeb has flopped a monster hand or he's on a stone bluff. This is what he's got to figure out.
Now don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the House of Pain on the World Poker Tour. We are watching Kasim Deeb pray as he desperately bluffs Gus Hansen.
Look at Gus Hansen here. He's really got a tough call. He's got the best hand, but I promise you, when you're sitting in that seat looking at a 270,000 staring you in the face, your 2 queens don't look too good.
I just can't believe the courage of Kasim to raise when he didn't catch anything.
Believe me, Kasim's got a lot of heart. I told you, if he's got chips, he's a player. He is a poker player.
And he calls.
And he's calling. And he wins the pot. He says, you win, but look how Deeb shoots his eyes over there to see what he's got. He's very curious as to what he's got, and he's stunned right now. I mean, I'm telling you, he is stunned looking at that hand.
Queens are good.
He knows he let out and bet on the flop with nothing. He knows he gave him a free card on 4th Street. He knows he check raised it and can't believe the guy called him with just 2 queens and a 5 kicker. What a call Hansen made. You got to take his hat off to him. He took his time. He analyzed that play, how the betting went on that pot. He paid him off for 2 queens there. Vince, I think it was a great call. It really was.
Well, he was obviously outplayed. Gus played it brilliantly all the way because Kasim made an interesting play too. These guys have been going toe-to-toe all afternoon, and the momentum has shifted back again only after 1 hand. Just when you think Kasim is in, he seems to be out.
Gus is on the button again here.
He has a pretty good hand, 10 queen off suit, but he's on the button. You got to figure he's going to raise this a little bit.
Raise it.
And he is going to come in and play this pot.
Gus raises a pot 90,000.
He comes in for 90,000 on the button. And look at this. Deeb has picked up a monster. He's picked up ace-king in the blind. This is the hand Deeb's been waiting on.
And he wants to get Gus back real bad.
I'll go all in.
He's gone all in.
He's chomping at the bit.
Yuanda folds, and now Gus is up to another decision here. Now it's going to cost Gus about $250,000 to call this raise.
You know, I think the interesting thing is Gus doesn't really have much of a hand, but I think he may just call because he just wants to shove it in his face.
Gus calls. We got a pot.
Well, it's ace-king against queen-10. Ace-king against queen-10 means Freddie Deeb is about a 2.5 to 1 favorite in this pot.
Queen,
And the flop comes ace-queen-queen.
Tremendous for Gus.
Gus has flopped 3 queens. Freddie Deeb needs an ace.
Jack? I don't need a jack. I need
The jack comes off on the turn. Doesn't matter. Deeb needs an ace to stay alive in this tournament.
You need an ace.
A deuce comes off. Freddie Deeb has been outdrawn. He's out of this tournament in 3rd place. A good sport. He shakes Gus's hand.
Gus has won that duel. Look at him.
That's the third time Deeb has got his money in a big favorite position, and he's lost 3 times in that spot. Now, that's tough to take.
Great effort by Kasim. Went in with the better hand.
Kasim played great poker. I'm telling you, he played very unlucky on 3 or 4 hands today, or he'd have had all the chips. It just shows you timing is everything, Vince.
Tell me about the caliber of player at the final table.
Well, the guy that won the last hand from me, he played very bad, in my opinion. I would like to play this game with him every day for the rest of my life. If he plays like that, he could never beat me in the long run.
Day 1 of the Bellagio 5-Diamond World Poker Classic, 146 players began, and on day 4, they were down to 6. Scotty Wynn was the first to go, then Chris Bigler and John Hennigan. Finally, Kasim Deeb was eliminated by unlucky cards. That means the last 2 players, John Uwanda and Gus Hansen, remain to duke it out for the title.
Well, we're down to the final 2, but before we continue, the director of poker operations at the Bellagio, Doug Dalton, is leading a procession of beauties and nearly $1 million in cash out on a silver platter to put right on the table so these players can see the cold, hard cash, Vince.
Yeah, this is going to make them really excited. Almost $1 million wrapped up in rubber bands, put on that table, makes it become even more of a reality.
Now, this is exciting. That's a lot of money, a lot of cash. And this time they're really playing for that cash. The difference in one pile and the other pile.
I've never seen that much money before in my life.
And that's the beauty of poker. It's a cash business.
Yeah.
These guys are like 30 years old. The winner of this is going to get nearly $600,000. Don't feel too bad for the loser. He's going to get over $286,000. Well, how sweet is life at 30 years old when you pick up a $500,000 so easy?
It's not bad at all.
Okay, we're back to the action. We've got the cash on the table, the trophy on the table, and the final 2 participants in the 5-Diamond World Poker Classic. Antes are 3,000, blinds are 15 and 30,000, and now we're going to do battle. The money's out there, the cash is big, but the truth is money comes and goes. These guys want to win that title, that trophy, that spot in poker history. And here we go. Uwanda inherits the button. Now, the big blind is always in front of the button, so the small blind that's on the button will have to act first. Okay, here comes John Uwanda. He's going to be the first to speak. He's going to limp in on the button. He's got 7-8. Now, here's Gus in the big blind.
Notice Gus didn't even look at his own cards until Johnny had raised.
He's going to raise. He's raising with the ace high, playing heads up. Uwanda limped in on the button. Sensing weakness, Hansen raises. Now, it looks like he's getting out chips. He may want to take a flop with this hand. He's got a 7-8. He's got position. Gus has bet 60,000. Sure enough, Uwanda's going to see a flop. He calls him. Here's the flop. And the flop comes ace-ace-3. Hansen has flopped 3 aces in this pot. Now, he's thrilled with this flop. What's going through his mind now, Vince, is how do I play this to get the maximum return on my money? Should he lead out? Should he check? Should he trap?
I would expect a check from him, so maybe he can trap him into Johnny Uwanda into betting.
He's leading out. He's betting this hand. He's flopped 3 aces and betting. He only bet 30,000, a very small bet into that pot. Uwanda quickly folds because he had nothing. But I find that pretty interesting that he bet that hand.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that, too. Maybe he wants the perception of that no matter what, he's not going to slow play. Maybe he's setting him up that way.
Well, what's interesting about this is, out of the 4 players have been eliminated, Gus Hansen has knocked out 3 of them. Uwanda has knocked out 1. So between them, they've knocked out every player at the final table. And now they're going to come down to see who knocks each other out. Gus inherits the button. And here we go. Whoa, look at this. Hansen has picked up 2 kings on the button, playing heads up. Just a monster. And he raises the pot up to 95,000. He comes in for 95,000.
Well, that's huge. A huge hand, and he doesn't play it sneaky.
But now look at Uwanda. He's got ace-jack. He also has a big hand playing heads up. This is going to be interesting to see what happens. Gus has raised this pot. He didn't slow play the kings. The question is Uwanda going to call or play back over the top? He's thinking about what to do. I don't think there's any chance he's going to fold.
Gus keeping his eyes down, doesn't want to give many tells.
No, but I guarantee you one thing. He's hoping he does something like raising back right here when he's staring at two kings.
Raise.
Gus has got to love this. Look at Gus looking at him. Look. I guarantee you inside he's jumping with glee right here.
They're playing for some big stakes. The difference between first and second is about $280,000 difference. And the championship title here. Don't want to make a mistake.
I'm all in.
Gus re-raises all in 1 second. He didn't wait 1 moment. He just moved all in quickly. Whoa.
He's got to figure he's in front.
I mean, he didn't even hesitate. He didn't try to trap him. He didn't do nothing. He just said he was all in. Just quickly put all his chips in the pot. And now Uwanda has got to figure out, is he bluffing me, putting the move back on the top of me? Now, at this stage, Uwanda still has well over 800,000 left. So he's got plenty of chips to play the tournament if he folds this hand. But if he calls and loses, he's out of the tournament. Now, Uwanda's got a tough decision here. He's seen a lot of bluffing by Gus. He's got a hand that's not so bad. It's normally a good hand heads up.
I call.
Looks like he's going for it.
John Uwanda calls and goes all in.
Gus has set him up earlier with having junk all the time that he almost has to call.
He said he's calling. Tournament director Jack McClellan is counting out the chips.
God,
Here we go.
This is happening really fast. I never expected it.
Gus feels good right now. We thought it might last a long, long time. It took us forever before we lost one player. And now when we get heads up, it's only going to take 2 pots. The tournament could be over unless John Uwanda gets lucky and outdraws Gus Hansen in this pot.
Johnny Uwanda smiling. Will he still be smiling after he sees Hansen's cards here?
If Gus wins, he's the champion. If John wins, he's got the chip lead.
Look at that look on Uwanda. Oh, no. Powerful blow to the stomach for Uwanda.
John knows he's overplayed this hand now. He's got ace-jack. He's up against 2 kings. Gus is about a 70% favorite to win this pot. Boom, he flops the top set. It comes king 10-4.
Gus way in front.
But now Uwanda can catch a queen to win this pot.
That's true, an inside straight draw.
He's got 4 cards to catch to win this pot. Here we go, a 5 comes off. He needs a queen. He's a major underdog right now. Otherwise, Hansen will be the tournament champion. The river is a 7.
Not going to do it.
Gus Hansen has won this tournament.
He had to sweat it out.
Gus Hansen played magnificent poker.
Gus Hansen from Copenhagen, Denmark's our champion. Runner-up, John Uwanda.
A dramatic finish to this great tournament that we've had. Gus Hansen wins the 5-diamond World Poker Classic here at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. Fantastic performance by him. He's won an entry into the World Poker Tour's championship event. He's feeling about as good as you can feel right now, Vince.
Man, this is every poker player's dream. You have a pair of kings and you flop a set and you win this kind of money. He wins $556,000.
Champagne to the winners.
Our director of poker operations here at the Bellagio, Doug Dalton, is going to present the trophy to Gus Hansen now.
Gus, congratulations on being the first winner at Bellagio 5-diamond World Poker Classic.
Thanks a lot. It was a great tournament, and well, I'm just happy to win it.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Fantastic event, fantastic day of poker. We're looking forward to the poker season coming up, Vince. What a great game.
Yeah.
And this is just the first event of an international series of tournaments on the World Poker Tour.
So be sure to come back next week and every week until the World Poker Tour Championship. We'll see you there.